Hello, how are you? My name is Marilyn Opitz, and I've been in the beauty business for 37 years. I have my own freelance hairstyling and makeup business, as well as I'm a team leader and bronze ambassador sales representative with Avon. The topic of sizeism I'm going to be discussing is a tough one because I'm working in an industry that for several years has contributed and created unrealistic standards for women to be judged harshly by their parents. So that's why I'm going to talk about my personal story, my personal experiences dealing with sizeism, from victim to survivor to thriver, in learning about my journey from body hatred, self-hatred, self-harm, to body acceptance, to body confidence. I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but I think it's a very important topic that because it's not something that gets talked about often. You know, sizeism has contributed to many problems in our lives, and that those unrealistic standards create lots of problems in our lives as women. Thin privilege, tall privilege are two privileges I've never experienced in my life, because I'm a short-statured person who is also plus size. So what does that mean? That means that even if I lose weight, I'm still not a 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot tall supermodel. And my body shape is the most amplified. I have two older sisters. I had a mother that was a model. She did modeling off and on throughout her life. I'm the shortest of the women in my family, even with grandmothers, those kinds of things. So I can say I love the creativity and the innovation that the beauty industry brings to our lives, but I myself have been a victim to judgment and bullying and constant criticism and for the most part, yes, it has been from men too, but for the most part, 2/3 out of the time, it was usually coming from women. My whole life, including my family. As early as one of my baby pictures, when I was probably about maybe a year old, the notes written on the back of a photo, written by my grandmother saying, "Hopefully she'll slim down when she gets older." Then my first day of nursery school was being bullied, or now we would call daycare, being bullied because somehow my slightly thicker appearance was such an offense that the other 4-year-olds were already conditioned to be offended by my appearance. Later on, in my school years, my size made me the target of bullying for years. It included daily mental and physical abuse that when teachers at that time period often looked the other way, or even joined in by laughing to try to appear like the cool teacher. Even the microaggressions of words chosen of, "Oh, you're such a pretty face. If only. If only. If only you'd be taller. If only if only you'd lose weight. If only what? Then what? Are we always going to live for that if only? Even girlfriends, shopping with girlfriends, those phrases were like, I don't know why you're having such a hard time finding clothes. You aren't that big. As if to say that being bigger would be so horrible. None of these were concerns about my health. It was always about my appearance and my worthy as a woman, my worth as a woman at my height or what size pants I wore. When you are being told as you're growing up, well, she'll just get taller and then it'll be okay. Well, you know what? I didn't get taller. I didn't get any taller. I stopped growing it after the age of 9. So then it was from the relatives who said that, who had those opinions, they got even angrier. Well, you just need to do this. Well, you just need to do this. And I'm just trying to live, It's a very, very tough thing to have girls be growing up being compared to this unrealistic set of beauty standards. It always seemed like my height and my weight was the problem for the other person who was making these judgments. Because I was being raised by a single dad who was teaching me to think of my worth for what my actions were, for what my accomplishments were, over my appearance. But I always got that anger, especially from other women, many other women. Not all, but many. It took through high school, even through high school. I, always interested in fashion and beauty, and my school offered a fashion merchandising course, which twice a year we put on fashion shows. Well, back then they had a few stores that they got clothes from. They could have, for the most part, 99.9% got to model in the fashion show. Was there an effort to find clothes that would fit me so that I could participate? No. As much as I was getting an A in that class and was, always doing my work on time and great reports and interested, it was being pulled aside by a teacher to make it seem like helping her out backstage was such a great thing, that I was being informed by her that I would be her backstage assistant, and how great it was going to be because I would be able to work with the clothes, since I was really the one that was really into the clothes. And so basically I was made to feel that I only belonged backstage. I was not meant to be seen. It took a long time for me to get over that. I could have even been wearing a pair of pants and a black blazer and been the MC of the fashion show. But she didn't even want to make that level of effort to do that. As far as she was concerned, she was an older woman from a different time, from an even more selective time, harsher time, where women were so very even, more intensely judged by their appearance. Where, people who were heavier just didn't belong on stage as far as she was concerned. These kinds of microaggressions got in the way of me trying out for plays when I loved theater. These kinds of things affected my self-confidence so that I never wanted to try out for a lead in chorus or to try out for to sing a solo in a choir. And what did I do as I was processing this? I did what many young women did. When given the only choice of this is how you'll be accepted is if you'll be this smaller size, because you taking up space is so offensive. So I developed an extreme eating disorder. Granted, the compulsive eating disorder that I had that was making me larger in the first place, also growing up in a very dysfunctional family where food was being used, everybody else was using food as comfort. But because it was showing the most on me, I was the most offensive. So the extreme eating disorder that I developed, and it was extreme dieting and over-exercising. You know, many of us have been on diets. I call it the calorie math. Well, if I eat this granola bar for breakfast, that's 140 calories, and then I have 280 calories for the lean cuisine, and then, I drank a V8 juice at 4 p.m. Okay, so I add that to those calories. Okay, and then how much am I left over for dinner if I'm going to be eating under 800 or 1,000 calories? All that kind of, I call it the calorie math. When you're doing that kind of calorie math in your head, and then you lose some weight and then you plateau, so then you say, okay, well, you've hit a plateau. That means you have to up your activity even more, and you have to lower your calorie rate even more. So when you're still not thin enough and not thin enough and not thin enough, it ends up being you're always doing the calorie math, and you're always adding on more time for exercise. So the extreme, yeah, of course. So you could lose weight, you go to the doctor says, oh, you're oh so healthy, oh, you're doing so well, and everybody else says how great you are, and suddenly you're being included, you're being a member of this club that you were never ever allowed to be in before. And everybody is treating you differently. Oh, you look so good now. Oh my God. Oh, you were such a mess before. Oh my God. And I bet you love the clothes you're able to wear now, or the men chasing you now. What is it? You know what? I actually found that I was still stood up as a smaller woman. Things still happen to me. Different things happen to me with men. Bad things, good things. Bad things happen to me with men as a heavier set person. Good things happen. Bad things happen. Good things happen to me as a heavy set person. Bad things happen to me as a thinner person. And bad things happen. It was a mixed bag. It didn't mean that suddenly because I was smaller, I was going to become this chosen one, and my life was everything going to fall into place. My family still had problems. I still had, there were still problems out in the workplace. There was still workplace dramas. I had certain issues that I had to deal with in other areas of my life. The losing weight was not the end all be all that everyone had, just lose weight, just lose weight, just lose weight, just lose weight. And not only that, once I had lost weight, then it was, oh, but you're so small. I didn't realize how short you are. Oh, and then suddenly I was allowed to be included in the clubs of, oh, I'd like you to be a bridesmaid. Oh, but I had no idea. Look, we're trying to make these dresses, and just look at how small your arm, the pattern for your arm, it looks like a little baby arm. And oh my gosh, I didn't realize how short your legs were. You must have a really tough time finding. The constant discussions of clothes and constant discussions of well, at least you're not as big as you were, or the constant, when you're, especially in an industry where it is a fashion industry, it's a beauty industry, you're surrounded by mirrors, people are always having discussions. Of course, women just love to, especially coming into a salon, they love discussing their health, their diets, their, gaining weight from pregnancy or losing weight from pregnancy, or a whole mixed bag. But once you have gotten smaller, you're even more aware of your body flaws. You're even more aware of, well, you might be out of proportion, or suddenly I still had thicker arms. I had more stretch marks. I still had thicker thighs. And it was suddenly my body was even more of a topic to be discussed and picked apart. and especially since I was so aware of my issues, and I was constantly talking about it because I was made to feel like I still wasn't right. I was still deformed in these people's eyes. And so I was constantly working on these deformities and constantly nearly killing myself to fit this image. And when I think back on it now, I'm thinking, well, what if I had put that energy into my career? What if I had put that energy that I was worrying so much about, the 3 or 4 hours that I spent exercising when I got off of work from working and standing on my feet all day long, or into even half of that amount of time into my artwork that I had set aside, or my writing, or anything other things that I had always wanted to do. But because I had been taught and still being heard every single day that my appearance, by not fitting this mold, was so important for me to reach this imaginary goal that everybody thought that I should look like. And it was never thin enough, and it was never the right kind of body. And it made me even go to even more extremes in my self-hatred. It made me stay in a very, I would say about a 3.5 year, very dysfunctional relationship because of the where my head was at, Once I finally got the strength to get away from that bad situation, I sort of relaxed somewhat finally with my eating disorder, and I got to a size that I was reasonably okay with. But once again, other people's criticism of my body became a major cause of stress to them. Running into an old friend that I hadn't seen in a long time, who had not seen me since I had, when I was much smaller, the attitude of the first thing, instead of saying, "Hey, how are you?" she couldn't wait to say right away, before even saying it was so great to see you, it was, "You were so thin before, what the hell happened?" Like, my gaining a little weight back was so offensive to her that that was the only thing she could see. She couldn't see past it. Women, we just have to do better, There are many causes for weight gain, whether it's compulsive eating, whether it's, eating disorders, medication side effects, hormonal, thyroid gland issues, sometimes recovering from a car accident, pregnancy. These are all things that should be taken with empathy, seen with empathy, and not disgust over an overweight person, especially a child. We are not people who committed a serious crime. We should not be treated as such just because we're a larger size. I know of people who are what I would say very active people, who are very intense on watching their diet, and they're very intense on their activity levels, and they like to judge, and they like to see it as a way of, well, I told you so, if someone develops a health issue as a result of not being as active. Or there's this whole thing, well, I'm doing all of this, so you need to too. You would never treat, especially now, we're more aware of the, ways, different races, ethnicities, ageism, a lot of ways that people are being mistreated and judged, but somehow weight has always been this thing that we've had given this allowance that it's okay to be judgmental. I think we need to be kinder and show more empathy in how we raise our kids. Many mothers are overweight. whether they hate themselves at being overweight or 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 they lose their weight. But either way, somehow children often are learning at a very, very early age that being heavier is bad. Even though if they have a heavier mom, that many times, and I even know of at least 7 women who won't post their pictures of them with their kids. They'll post pictures of their kids. They'll post old pictures of them when they were thinner before pregnancy or when they were, earlier times. But they won't even post a current picture of them with their children. And so there's no photo memories that they are sharing. There's no evidence because they don't like to show what they look like. And so those kids are learning, that however mom looks is wrong, right? And that's a terrible thing to do, We need to learn to love ourselves more at every size. We want to have a better world for our kids in general and have our kids do better. Of course, we want to be healthy. We want to be active. We want to live as long as we can. Right now, there's a disease that's attacking the world. So I'm glad to still be here. I am glad to still be able to breathe. Lately, in the past few years, there have been some changes on the horizon with more visual representation of young women who are plus size, whether they're bloggers, actresses, influencers, we call them now. You have some of those plus size bloggers on Instagram receiving big contracts and free clothes from companies such as Fashion Nova Curve. Sports Illustrated now includes plus size swimsuit models in their annual swimsuit issue. Victoria's Secret, on the verge of bankruptcy, had to cancel their fashion show because they refused to add plus size models to their lineup. But they're finally, because they saw after so many other lingerie companies that were being inclusive to showing thicker models or plus size models, that they're finally now showing women of different sizes and even it's still going from women who are 2 to a 12 is still not the same as a 16 or a 24 in advertising, but they're still at least making some headway. We now see more plus size female actors, comedians, TV, movies, on the red carpets, at award shows. Even though they have a harder time finding clothes from designers, fashion designers such as Kristen Siriano have stepped up and experienced critical acclaim, boosting their own brand sales by providing outfits for women of all sizes on the red carpets. But there will always be those moments when the passive-aggressive tone of, "you have such a pretty face," or comments like, "keep going," when a before and after photo is posted, that just, somehow, there's some people who will always be that will always be that person that will say that. When is enough, though? Do you want us to disappear? We don't treat each other's appearances with disdain in any other way, And so often we're the most harshest critic to ourselves. Sometimes there can be the criticism of, I'll show my body in clothes, but I definitely won't wear a bathing suit. Finally, I just started in the last few years seeing this whole movement of people saying all bodies are bathing suit bodies. Magazines have finally stopped saying, get in shape for summer. Bathing suit season's right around the corner. That used to be the most stressful thing of when it was got to be around March, April, right after Easter, all those the great Easter brunches. Then it's, oh no, bathing suit season after a long winter. But you know what? It's only one pool. It's only one beach. When are you going to get that time back? That time that you didn't enjoy the beach, that time that you didn't enjoy that pool, that time where you were embarrassed, or that time when you didn't go to the pool party or go on that beach trip because you were so embarrassed about your body. It's got to stop, because we only have this time here, you know? We only have this time. So you have to enjoy your life as much as possible. If anything, what's been going on is to teach us to enjoy as much as we can. I can honestly say from my own personal experience, it took having multiple large-scale tragedies to get me to the point of saying, I'm just glad to be here, you know? Large-scale tragedies, 9/11, living in D.C. in that area during 9/11, taking the bus during the time of a D.C. sniper, my own multiple health crises that slowed me down and gave me my own personal time where I could not exercise, where I needed to recoup and just rest. And unfortunately, you know, some weight got put back on. Oh well, I'm still here, you know, and I made it through this far. Of course, my goal is to get healthier. My goal is to be the healthiest I can be. But I want to celebrate my success. I want to be judged by my success, my knowledge, my kindness, and what I'm bringing to a situation for my talent, and not by the size of my thighs. I'm happy to say that the company, and very proud to say that the company that I partnered with, Avon, includes fashions. In addition to all the makeup, everyone thinks of Avon as their grandmother's lipstick or Skin So Soft, you know, body, you know, oil that their moms used. But we have so many products, one of which is a whole line of every couple of months we get new fashions, we get new styles, for everything from leggings to tops to pants, dresses, a whole range of different clothes and shoes and accessories. But the clothes range from extra small to 3X. And that includes a lot of different sizes. That includes a lot of different women from all different ages, too. The clothes, a teenager could wear the clothes as well as a woman in her 80s, you know. And I'm proud to be a part of a company that includes that. Avon also was one of the first companies to carry different lines of products that of skin tones, products for different skin tones of people of color, and use people of color in their advertising at a time when many other companies were not. And I'm proud to be a part of what they represent and what they continue to represent, because they keep doing more and more to expand, to include, and to say, you know, we appeal to everyone, you know. Everyone should feel included in feeling beautiful. Everyone should feel included in feeling fashionable. Everyone should feel included in feeling their best self and feeling confident, so that they can be the most successful for that job interview, for that entrepreneurial meeting, for that great networking function, for the speech that they're going to make. I just think we have to be kinder. We have to look within. We have to vow to do better. And feeling included matters. It really does. We want to share and celebrate our joys and feel supported, no matter what size we are, no matter what age we are, no matter what color we are, especially going forward. And let's take what we're learning from each other with this summit to do better and to treat each other not only for equality and how we're being treated in the world with men, but how we treat each other when we're in the ladies' room, when we're in the office together late at night, when we're shopping for clothes together. It's how we treat each other that really makes us want to be closer and want to support each other and do our best going forward. So thank you so much, and have a great day. Take care. Bye.